Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of What the Real Podcast. I'm your host, Darnell.
And I'm Brittany.
So, Brittany, on this episode, what are we going to be doing? What are we doing?
We're going to do Tucker and Dale vs. Evil.
Yes. I remember this was on what list we did, and this was on it.
It was, I don't know, it was on one of your lists.
Yeah.
This movie was ridiculous. It was so stupid. It was funny.
Yeah. That's the whole thing it's supposed to be. It's like it's just fun because you're like you see both perspectives as like the teens, the college kids are like thinking it's some crazy hillbillies, but they're just dumb guys, and
And they didn't even kill anyone.
Yeah.
They're
killing themselves. Yeah.
killed themselves.
Yeah, they kill themselves or
and they think it was
killing
a
each other.
suicide pact.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like this movie. I like it because it's first of all, it's gory. They don't, they make sure it's gory. It's just the comedy is fun. I just like how it changes the genre of the kids getting killed by the hillbilly guys, genre.
Yeah.
So I like that, just making fun of it. And it's actually pretty funny. I enjoy the comedy in this.
Yeah, a lot of stuff was funny. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so stupid, but I'm laughing at it.
Yeah.
But I'm laughing.
And how the one girl always getting knocked out throughout the movie.
Oh my gosh, I know. She's like, how long have I been out for? A few hours. She's like, oh my gosh.
I was like, I'm surprised she haven't had a concussion by the end of the movie. Or something.
I like how he brought her a helmet to wear, and he's like, I want you to wear this at all times. And she's like, okay, I will.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious. And then, it still has like the horror aspect. There is horror to it, It's just weird how they do it, but there's some horror to it. And there's obviously the one character who is the bad guy, he's first. Well, he's kind of like an a-hole throughout the whole movie.
The whole movie he was an a-hole.
Yeah, so.
From beginning to end, till his death.
Yep. And then you learn a little bit more about him and his backstory, that, all that stuff. So,
I was like, I knew it. I knew it. When they said that, I was like, I knew it. I knew his dad was the murderer all along of that massacre.
Yeah. And then I like how they went, like the beginning of it was the ending, like how they show in the beginning movie the journalists are getting attacked. And that was him in the, because he got away at the end. But yeah, I enjoyed it, so it seems like you enjoyed it. So let's go ahead and break it down.
Okay, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. So first we see like a camera view, and there's like a lady talking. She's a journalist, and they're talking about they're pretty much in this abandoned building looking for the scoop because the police must have missed something.
Yep.
And she was like, all right, come on, let's go and look. And then she ends up getting like hit over the head by a pipe. And then we see the cameraman like screams, and then he runs away. But before that, actually, did the guy come out first and then he ran, or he just ran after the pipe?
I think the guy came out first, and then he ran.
The guy came out, and as you see, his face is all mangled, like the side of his face is mangled. Cameraman runs away, and then obviously he gets hit and kills. He falls, drops the camera and then falls right in front of the camera.
Yeah.
See him bleeding. And that was like the little intro of the movie.
Yep, and then it says 3 days ago in West Virginia.
Yeah. And
it shows the kids driving, and they almost hit this pickup truck pulling off from the side of the road. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, whoa, what's going on? And they drive, and then the pickup truck comes up driving right next to them, and they're like afraid of the guys in the truck, and it's Dale and Tucker.
Yeah.
But you don't know that they're good guys just yet.
Yeah, and they have like this dumb face, like dumb look on their face as they drive by,
Yeah, but they're like afraid of them. And then they're like, so they pass them, and the one girl goes, we forgot the beer.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no. So they pull off at a rest stop.
Mm.
And at the rest stop, they go to get beer, and they come in, and this place like really hillbilly-ish.
Yeah.
Like they come in and they're like, I reckon, what are you looking for? And so they're like, where's the beer? And they're like, in the back right-hand corner. Very bad at a Southern accent.
Yeah.
And so they go back there, and the one girl, Allison, she goes to pick something off. She's like, "Oh, do we need more bug spray?" And she goes to pick it off, and she sees Dale, and she freaks out. And Dale has, what was it? Pickled?
Yeah, he had
Pickled egg,
pickled eggs, yeah.
pickled eggs.
yeah.
And he had pickled eggs, and he was afraid to talk to her. And he's like, "Can I help you with anything?" He's like, "Oh, I got pickled eggs." And the kids leave because they're all scared.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're out in the car, and he's like, I really like that girl, but she's too out of my league for me. I'm afraid to talk to women. I can never do it. And Tucker's like, "You just got to be yourself, man. You got to make sure you laugh with confidence.
Yeah.
Laugh and smile." So he walks up, and what did he say?
So he has this big like scythe. with
Oh,
him,
yeah, I forgot he has that. Why would
Yeah.
you walk over with that?
Yeah. He has a big scythe, and then he walks up to Allison. Right, it was Allison, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes, "You guys going camping?" And then he looks at it and starts smiling and laughing, and then like she's like looking at him all weird, and then they pretty much, I think it was Chad at
It was
the time.
Chad.
Yeah, Chad goes up to him and was like, "Oh my god, like, you know,
Get away
like,
from us.
Yeah, like acting weird," and they pretty much got scared off, and they all hopped in the truck and left.
And then it shows Dale and Tucker driving.
Yeah.
And he's just explaining to them how he doesn't know how to talk to women
Mhm.
like him and stuff like that. And they're drinking beer as they're driving. And a cop turns on their lights and gonna pull them over. And he's like, "Oh my God, I dropped my beer." And he goes down to reach it or something like that. And
Yeah.
he gets stuck down there, and the cop comes over, and it looks like he's
Yeah.
doing the nasty on him as he pulls his head up, and his shirt rips wide open. Dale's
Yeah.
shirt rips wide open, and the cop's all like weirded out, like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "License, please." And he's like, "Oh, I lost my wallet a week ago, but I have a printout of this, so here you go."
Yeah. And then also Tucker's telling the cop that they're going to their vacation home. So pretty much they bought this house, and it's going to be their vacation home.
Yeah.
That's when they pull up to the house. So the cop lets them go.
They said he had a broken turn signal.
Yeah. So they pull up to the house and they see it looks all crappy. It's like some old cabin, all dusty. And
Dale's all excited. He's like,
Yeah.
"It's perfect."
it's perfect. It's a good fixer upper. He says.
Yeah.
So they go inside and there's like a whole bunch of hanging like bones and stuff like that.
Yep.
And there's all these news clippings, and it's about like people getting killed and stuff
Yes.
like that. But they don't even look at that. They just see like a coupon for something.
A coupon that says "buy two get one free" or
Yeah.
something like that. And he's like, "Oh, it never expires."
Yeah. So they just ignored all that other stuff. And then they go back to the kids, the teenagers. Oh, they're not even teens, are they? Well, they're college kids.
That's what they say throughout
Yeah.
the entire
Yeah.
movie.
So they go back to the college kids, and they're all sitting by a fire, and they're talking about scary stories, and then Chad pretty much talks about a story about a bunch of college kids like them in the woods, and they're all got attacked by these hillbillies, and then
They call it the Memorial Massacre.
yeah, the Memorial Day Massacre, and then they actually show like a what's the word?
Cutscene of it.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, you could say cutscene of it, and they just show it. All these teenagers getting chased. One gets like stabbed in the neck. The
One
other
gets a saw blade thrown
Yeah.
at them,
yeah. So all these kids, getting killed.
and only one person survived.
Yep, only one survived. He says.
And the one guy is like, "Oh, I found a lake. Let's go skinny dipping." And all the
Yeah.
kids are like, "Oh yeah, let's go."
Yeah, and then that's when we see Chad. He goes up to Allison. He's like, "Oh, you try to what do you say? You're like you act like you're better than everyone else."
Yep.
But I do too, so we should be together because we're both better than everybody else. He says.
Yeah.
Then he tries kissing her and stuff like that, and she's like, "Oh,
Let's talk about this later,
Yeah.
not right now.
Yeah,
Stop.
she's like turning him down, but trying to do it nicely.
Yeah.
Um,
And then it goes to Dale and Tucker fishing.
Yeah, they're fishing.
And they're drinking beer, and there's only one beer left. And Dale, I always get confused. Dale's like, "Oh, there's one beer left. You should have it, Tucker." And Tucker's like, "Oh, you never stick up for yourself. You're too easygoing." So Dale goes to grab the beer, and he's like, "No, don't touch that. That's mine." And he goes to grab for it again. And he's like, "No, don't touch that." And he's like, "What did I just say?" And he's like, "But you told me I should go for things." And he's like, "That's not what I said last. I told you not to touch it."
Yeah, it's my beer.
Stupid comedy like that.
Yeah. And that's where we see the kids are, the college kids are about to go swimming and stuff like that. And they're in the water and stuff. And I guess one of them is topless. So they're like, "Oh, let's get a little closer and look." And then Dale's like, "No, we can't. And Tucker's like, "No, let's go look and see." And as they get closer, then they see Allison, like she's on top of this big rock.
Yep.
And she's they're like, "Oh, look at her." And then she slowly starts going down into the water. And then I guess Dale says something to Tucker, and
Dale
heard
says
it.
Tucker.
Oh, okay.
He literally says Tucker.
And then she hears it, and then she looks back at them, and she gets scared, and she freaking falls into the water. And they're like, "Oh no!"
And you think she's dead.
Yeah, and they're like,
You don't know what she is at this point.
"Yeah." And they're like, and they're talking like, "Oh, see, look, you made her fall in the water and all this stuff," and they're like, "She's not getting out. Like, she's not getting up
Like,
up."
where is
Yeah,
she?
like, where is she?
So they go to try to find her, and they find her body, and they're picking her up in the canoe, and all the teens see them, and they're freaking out. They're like, "Oh my God!" And they're yelling, "We got your friend! We got your friend!" And they're all running away. They're like, "Why are they running away?"
Yeah.
So they leave, and Dale and Tucker just go their own ways back, and they meet up with Chad, and they're like, "Chad, the hillbillies took Allison," and Chad grabs an axe, and they're coming, and Dale and Tucker are just leaving. They're just about out of sight view, and they're like, "Okay, we got to go find them."
Yeah.
And then it cuts to
Allison,
to the morning time, and Allison wakes up. You find out she's alive. They put a bandage on her head, and Dale brings her pancakes, and she screams. I thought this part was funny. And he's like, "What? You don't like pancakes? Okay, I'll go get you something else."
Yeah. So she doesn't like pancakes. So and then they go back. I think they go back to the kids, and they're saying they're gonna go to see the police. And then the one guy goes to the police because he has his car.
Yeah.
And Chad's like, "No, we're gonna handle this ourselves." And he was kind of pissed that he actually even went. Like, Chad is like upset, like at it, he wants to go after them. Then they go back to Dale, and he brings her bacon and eggs.
Yep.
And he's like, he puts it down. It's like, what did he say? Something like, "Oh,
I hope you like bacon and eggs."
yeah." Because saying like, who doesn't like bacon and eggs? I hope you like this instead of, obviously you don't like pancakes.
Yeah.
And then pretty much he explains to her what happened, that she fell and all that stuff, and they brought her back because they're waiting for her friends to come get her. And she says like, "Oh, you got anything to do here?" And he's like, "You want to play? There's board games here if you want to play board games." So they actually play board games.
Yes.
Yeah.
His favorite game, trivia.
Trivia.
Dale says he may be stupid, but he can memorize everything that's said to him.
Yeah. So he's like really good at trivia games because he remembers all that stuff.
Yeah. And then all the friends are playing rock, paper, scissors, shoot to see who has to go to the house. And then it goes to Tucker with a chainsaw, and he's cutting the log.
Yeah.
And he cuts into a bee's nest.
Yeah.
So he's running with the chainsaw. He looks like a maniac. And the one guy's running away, and they're running in the woods. And Tucker's like, "Oh, there's a kid." And he's just still running. And the kid impales himself in a tree branch. It was like a large tree branch. It looked like a spear just sticking out of the ground. And he runs right into it. And a bee lands on his nose. And he's like, "Oh, what's that?" And then he dies.
Yeah. It's just funny because while he thinks Tucker's like going after him, and he's getting, running from Tucker, and all of a sudden Tucker runs past him, and he's looking like, "Wait, what? Why are you running past me?" And then boom, right into the tree.
Yeah.
Oh, But yep. So he ends up dying. Um, and then
Then it shows Dale and Allison
oh,
playing
next page.
playing trivia,
Yeah.
and
She's talking about her college and what she's going to be. She wants to go for
psychology.
She wants to be a therapist or something like that. And then he was like, no, no. And she's like, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't be a therapist. And he was like, no, we forgot to talk about the pillar. There's a pillar in the house that when you lean on it, it drops like some beam.
That
Yeah,
spike beam with
beam
nails
fall.
sticking out of
Yeah,
it.
when they first walked in the house, they almost got hit by it. So they're like, yeah, we got to fix that before someone gets hurt.
Yeah.
So he kind of yells at her because she was about to lean on it.
And then then Tucker comes in,
Mm.
and he's complaining. He's like, "Oh, ever since this girl got here, we haven't been fixing up this house or anything like that. You haven't been helping me."
Mm.
And stuff like that. And he's like, well, how about I pull those stingers out of your face and then I'll help you? And he's like, you know what? I'd like that. So he goes over to pull off the stingers
Mm.
off his face, and Allison's like, where are my friends? And he's like, oh, they went running off. I saw your one friend. He must have really been allergic to bees because he was running too.
Yeah.
And then Dale's like, Allison's like, oh, I need to go find my friends. And Dale's like, no, we'll go find it. You need to stay here and rest.
Yeah.
So they go out and looking for the friend, and I'm surprised they didn't see the dead body.
Yeah, I don't know how he missed that. Yeah.
How they both missed that.
Yeah,
because they were literally right there.
Yeah, and they go back to that. They go back to that area, and the body's like right next to them, and they missed it again.
Yeah.
And they left a note. Yeah.
And so then it goes to the kids, and the kids come out, and they're looking, and they see their friend's dead body, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, they must have left this as a sign, like
Yeah.
to show, we know you're out there. Don't mess with us.
Yeah.
We'll cause trouble. So then they hear Tucker and Dale coming, and they find the axe in the tree, and they're like, oh, the friends must have been here. So let's leave a message. And they go and read the message. And what does the message say?
It says, we got your friend. You're like, oh my God, they got Allison. And a little bit before that, they were like, while they were talking and the kids were hiding, Dale was like, yeah, he said they would go back to the cabin and finish Allison off.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, oh no. So they're thinking, she's getting kidnapped and whatever being done to her. So then they go and we see Allison sitting there while Dale's like digging a hole, and she's like, what are you digging this hole for? And he's like, oh, it's a shitter hole, or like you're just trying to say it better. Pretty much build a hole for an outhouse hole for the outhouse. And she's like, oh well, let me help you. I was raised on a farm, so she starts digging the hole as well, and that's when the teens go up, and she's like, oh my God, they have her digging her own grave and all this stuff.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Dale's just standing there, and she's just digging, and
Yeah.
eventually he pulls her up, and all the teens are like, okay, you guys got your weapons?
Mhm.
So they're like, okay, you three go that way, then you three go this way. So they
Yeah.
break up into separate groups, and the one guy has a spear, and he goes to go attack them. Dale sees him coming, hits Allison in the head with the shovel. She
Yeah.
falls in the hole. Dale falls backwards. The kid falls in the hole, like his
Yeah.
spear falls in, and then he impales on the spear,
Yeah.
landing right face first with Dale.
Which is crazy. And then he gets killed, and then the other kid, he goes after Tucker, and he runs and jumps after Tucker, and Tucker ducks to pick up a piece of wood, and the kid just flies right into the wood chipper.
Head first.
Yeah. So he's getting all chomped up in the wood chipper. He's like, oh my God. And then they meet up and they're talking. He's like, oh my God, this is a suicide pact. Like the kids are killing themselves.
Yeah.
And then they're talking about, they think they want Allison dead as well. And they decided, it was like, pretty much Dale was like, oh, let's go to the police. And he's like, what are we going to tell them? That they were killing themselves?
Yeah, it's not going to work.
It's not, it doesn't, obviously won't work. So let's go, clean up,
Yeah.
Yeah. So they actually go to the kid in the wood chipper. I thought this was pretty funny. He's like, yeah, grab a leg. and then he grabs the leg, and they're both pulling, and he's like, for a half a body, this is pretty heavy. Like,
Yeah, yeah. And the kids are freaking out. They're saying
Yeah.
this was a stupid idea. And then Chad is calling them the P word, like pussycat.
Mm.
And then they hear the cops. So the kids go running up to the cop car, like jump right out in front of it. And they said, "Oh, people being murdered and stuff like that." And they're like, "Let's go see. I'm sure everything's perfectly fine." So they pull up and they see Dale and Tucker with the half body because they're gonna go bring it to their pickup truck. And the cop's like, "What's going on here?" And he's like, "Haha, funny story. These kids were trying to kill themselves. This kid went headfirst into the wood chipper." And he's like, "What do you think? I'm a moron?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"No, I've never thought that about you."
Yeah.
And so they're talking, and then they decide to go inside. And they're like, "Yeah, we got one inside. She's knocked unconscious. I hit her with a shovel by accident. She could tell you the story."
Yeah.
So they go inside. He takes a flashlight and he's looking in her eyes, and he's like, "Well, she's not brain dead." He's like, "Oh, good."
Yeah.
And then the cops goes to step, and he steps on that beam, and it puts that nail thing down in his
Yeah.
face, and he's walking out to his truck. And what happens?
Yeah, so pretty much right when he was looking at it, he was like, the cop was like, "Yeah, well, obviously you guys are in trouble, but obviously this is not murder, so worst thing you'll get is like
Manslaughter.
stuff like that." And then that's when he leans on the pillar, and they're like, "No, no!" And it boom right in the forehead, and he runs outside, and all the kids are in the car, and they're freaking out, and the cop opens the door, gets in the front seat, and tries to get on the radio and try to talk on the radio, but
Yeah.
he ends up can't. He falls down to the ground. The other kid in the front seat pretty much jumps out, grabs the gun from the cop. Then while the kids in the back seat are like screaming to try to get out, he points the gun at Tucker and Dale, and he's like,
Dale's like,
Yeah.
"You have to turn the safety off right there
and
on the side."
Yeah, so the kid goes to do it, and he turns the gun towards him, takes the safety off, and shoots himself in the head.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh my gosh."
I'm like, oh my. Then
So Tucker and Dale go
Oh, yeah.
inside because they're freaking out.
yeah, then Chad grabs the gun.
Chad grabs a gun and
Yeah.
starts shooting.
Yeah.
And Tucker's like, "This is all your fault.
Mhm.
If it wasn't for you, this would have never happened. We had to take Allison in." And Dale says, "If you didn't want to go on this vacation, this would have never happened if we went fishing."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You don't like fishing?" And he's like, "No, I don't." And he's like, "That hurts."
Yeah, he's like, that hurt my feelings.
And then shooting, and the Chad goes, "We have your dog," and he's holding a gun to his head. And Tucker's like, "Do we still have that nail gun?" So he hooks it up. And Tucker's going outside the back door to sneak around back while Dale is shooting them with the nail gun. He's like, "Hey, kids!" Boo, 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 boo. Ah! He's having fun shooting it.
Yeah.
And then Tucker's sneaking around, and then the kids shoot back at him, and Tucker's right there, and he sees them, and he's like, "We're gonna shoot your dog," and Dale's like, "If you shoot my dog, I'm gonna be really upset. I'm gonna be really, really upset."
Yeah.
And Tucker releases the dog.
Yeah, he releases the dog. The dog runs away, but they see Tucker do it, and then they pretty much right about to grab him, but he runs away. So they end up start chasing Tucker, and he hides behind like a tree, and he puts like leaves over him.
Yeah,
stuff
he
like
tries
that.
to cover himself. He didn't do
Yeah.
a very good job.
Yeah, and then Chad actually sees him, and he gets caught.
He knocks him out.
Yeah.
One punch to the face.
Yep.
And then he wakes up hanging upside down.
Mhm.
And he's like, "Oh, you kids are crazy. I don't understand what's going on." And he's like, "Well, you killed my friends, so payback's a bitch. I'm going to get you." So he cuts Tucker's fingers off.
Yeah.
And then it goes to Allison wakes up and Dale's crying.
Yeah.
And he's like saying how her friends are crazy. And she's like, "Oh, I have to go find them. I have to go see what's going on." And Dale's like, "Trust me, you do not want to go out there.
Yeah.
You do not want to go outside."
Yeah, she goes outside and she sees all the dead bodies and stuff out there. and then she sees like something on the ground, so she picks it up and walks back inside. And then this part had me dying. She opens it up, and then there's two fingers, and he goes, "Oh no, Tucker's bowling fingers." It just had me dying laughing. Oh, they cut off Tucker's bowling fingers.
Yeah, and she drops it, and he's like, "There's a note. There's a note."
Yeah. And then saying that what was it saying that we have him or something like that. We have him, come get him or something like that.
Yeah.
And then so Allison was pretty much saying like, how why this was going on, because they kind of misjudged how they looked and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Dale goes and starts to look for Tucker. He goes out there and actually finds Tucker, sees him
He finds his hat first.
Yeah.
And he puts his hat on his head. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And then he finds the dead body of the kids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he sees the dead body.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh my God." And then he's like, "Okay, I gotta go find Tucker."
Yeah.
And then he finds Tucker.
Then Tucker's hanging upside down, and Tucker goes, "It's a trap. It's a trap." And he's like, "Wait, what?" And then he walks forward and he hits like a trip wire, and then a spear comes right in between his legs.
Yep. Just
and
misses him.
Just missed him. And then I didn't write the line he said, but he was like, "Good thing I'm not hung like a horse," or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So then he cuts him down, Tucker down, and Tucker lands directly on his back. And then that's when we go back to the college teens. They actually go into the house.
Yeah,
and they
Chad and the girl.
Yeah, and they
break into the house.
Yep, they find Allison. They're like, Allison. She's like, "What are you whistling for? There's nobody here." And they're like, "Oh." Allison was saying, "Hey, this is just a misunderstanding. Tucker and Dale are good guys and stuff like that." And then the girl goes, "Oh, I heard this in class that I think she has Stockholm syndrome."
Yeah.
And then Chad gets upset. He's like, "What? You love him? You love them?" Like he was really, really pissed.
And he's holding an axe to her throat.
Yeah. And then that's when Tucker and Dale actually come in, and then she's like, "All right, guys, they're about to fight and stuff like that." And she's like, "Hey, wait, we need to stop and talk this over."
She's like, "I'll make some tea while you guys talk." So she literally has them sit down at the table, and she literally brings out tea. Yeah. And he's like, "This isn't chamomile tea, right?"
Yeah.
He's like, "No, because of my asthma."
Yeah.
And she's like, "No, it's Earl Grey." And Dale's like, "Oh, I love Earl Grey."
Yeah. So they sit down, and she was like, "All right, you both can tell the side of your story." And then Chad was like, "Okay, I'm going to tell you my story. Back when I was little," and they're like, "Whoa, that's a little too far back." And he was like, no, this makes sense. So pretty much Chad was saying back when he was telling the story about those hillbillies killing those people, one of them was his parents. Well, two of them was his parents, and they were attacked by the hillbillies, and then they were captured. And both his mother and father were tied up, but the mother got away, and his father was never seen again.
Yes.
And his mother had him, and then she went crazy and was institutionalized.
Yeah.
And Dale was like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, I feel bad for you," or something like that. He says.
Yeah.
Pretty much Dale tells his story, but they kind of like skip that. Like.
Yeah, well, it shows the two kids sneak up to the window.
Oh yeah, that as well.
And saying they're thinking they're trapped.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes to Dale, and he's like, I can't even hurt a fish.
Yeah.
You know that? And Tucker's like, "That's true, he can't." And he's like, "I would never hurt a fish or anything like that. I'm a good person." And then Allison's like, "Well, now that you both expressed your stories and you both listened."
Yeah. And then that's when the kid, the guy and the girl run in. He has a weed whacker, and he goes straight for Tucker. And then Tucker ducks out the way, and he hits the girl in the face with it, and like just blood just like squirts everywhere.
Yeah, bludgeons her face with it. Yeah.
And then that's when I think Chad like flips the table on Dale, and then jumps on top of the table, and he's trying to kill Dale as well. and then I think like he fights him off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then Chad gets upset and takes a lantern and he throws it at them, but it goes in between them and lands on the guy, the black dude.
Yep.
And then you see his foot on fire, and he's like, "Oh man!" And then the girl, she grabs like a random jar filled with liquid, unscrews it, and then throws it at him. They're like, "No, don't do that!" And they throw it, and it's pretty much. I think it was probably
It's probably alcohol.
yeah, it was what's the alcohol they make in jars?
I can't think.
I can't think of it either. But the they make it in like tubs and stuff in the woods. And
Yeah,
stuff.
I know what you're talking about.
Damn, I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, throws it and he just catches on fire. He just lights up.
Yeah.
And
There's a whole bunch of gas cans.
yeah.
And Dale's like, "Oh my God, we gotta get out of here." So he
Yeah.
grabs Allison and Tucker, and they all go running out. And they jump outside. The house explodes, and you think everyone's dead, but no, Chad survives.
Yeah.
He flips up the door, and he's alive. And Chad's coming for them, but he's moving very slow because he's injured. And Dale's trying to start the pickup truck, and he finally gets it started, and they drive, and he's looking back, and he's like, "Aha, we escaped," and he
Yeah.
crashes the truck.
Yeah. And then Dale wakes up and he gets out of the car and then he sees Tucker sitting down, and Tucker sound like Chad took her, and Dale's like, "Oh man, I knew I shouldn't have talked to her," and stuff like that. He says, then Tucker's like, "No, he was like, back, remember when we were catching frogs and always said, when you always caught more frogs than me, I always said I just let you catch more." And he's like, "But you were always better at me than catching frogs than I was." And he's saying, that, he's good at certain things, and maybe, he should go after her because maybe he can even date her if he goes after her. And saying like, obviously he knows he has feelings for her and stuff like that, and he should go get her. This is the time, if any, they go after her. And then he goes to the dog. Do you know the name of the dog?
No. They kept saying it, but I
Yeah.
wasn't understanding what they were saying.
Yeah. So Dale grabs the dog and actually tracks them to the lumber mill.
Yep.
And then he goes inside. Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, he
No.
goes.
Yeah,
He
goes.
leaves the dog.
Yeah.
He's like, "You stay here. I'm gonna go inside," and it shows that Chad has Allison tied down to the
Yeah.
lumber mill thing, where it's gonna saw it in half, like it would saw a tree in half. So she's tied down. Chad leaves as he hears Dale breaking in. Dale breaks in. He puts on all this gear, thinking he looks like a badass.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and Allison screams. And he's like, no, it's just me, Dale. She's like, "What are you wearing?" He's like, "I thought I would look intimidating."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, you do." And he's like, "Okay, sweet." And she's like, "Untie me." So he tries to untie. And he's like, "What kind of knot is this?"
Yeah.
And then Chad goes over the speaker. And he's like, "Allison, you betrayed me. Now you must die." And turns on the machines.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get it undone, and he takes a chainsaw and he tries to unknock it, and then Chad comes in and kicks him away.
Yeah, and then they start to fight, and obviously Allison's getting closer, getting chopped up, and then we see that Dale ends up throwing a hatchet
Yep.
towards her and actually hits the rope, and she gets free.
They fight some
They
more.
fight some more with a chainsaw. He has a chainsaw, he has a pipe. They start fighting, and then they decide to run away from Chad. They run upstairs and close it up, and they put something on top of the door so he can get in or something like that.
Yeah.
But then they're looking around, and then Allison before that, Dale finds the tea, the chamomile tea, and then Allison finds this news clipping, and there's a news clipping, and the person on it who's getting locked up with some cops and stuff, they noticed the one cop from earlier, and the other cops were arresting some guy that looked just like Chad.
Yep.
And then they come to realize, Chad's father was the Memorial Day killer, and the one that wasn't found is Chad's father. And then that's when Chad pops up. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Chad
So
pops up on
Chad uses the chainsaw and cuts away at the board that they put on it
Yeah.
and breaks in. And he's ready to attack Dale. And Dale's like, wait.
Yeah.
We found your dad. And Allison's like, really? And he shows him and he's like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
You know, it's all wrong. I got screwed over, blah, blah, blah. And then he starts up the chainsaw and he goes again. Dale throws the chamomile tea at him.
Yeah.
And he's coughing and stuff like that. And then he falls out the window and you think he's dead. Like
Yeah.
he dies on, what are those things called that he landed on?
Was it? Did he fall in a haystack or something? I don't know what he landed on actually.
I think something like that.
Yeah.
And then it jumps to Tucker being in the hospital,
Yeah.
and it shows the news reporters there. They're watching the TV, and the news reporters are like, "Oh, this was a suicide pact. Things are still unfolding.
Yeah.
The person who was doing the murders still isn't found."
Mhm. And it's the same person from the beginning of the movie.
Yes, same
Yeah.
person from the beginning of the movie.
One part though, when Chad was about to kill Dale, he was like, "You're half hillbilly."
Oh yeah,
He's telling him he was half hillbilly. I thought that was funny. But yeah, then we see Dale. He's visiting Tucker in the hospital, and
he says he has spies for him,
yeah,
and he brings out a beer.
a beer, and he's like, "It's still cold too."
And then he's like, I got a bendy straw for you. I know how much you like bendy straws.
Yeah. And then we see Tucker that he got his fingers back, and then he goes, "Well, this one, I don't know if this is my finger." And it comes to find out it was one of the girl's fingers. It had a fingernail on it. And then Dale, pretty much Tucker was asking Dale, did he ask Allison out on a date? And he was like, no, but they're going out for bowling. So he was like, oh, nice, okay, cool. And then they actually show them at show them at bowling, and they're talking, and then that's when we see Dale gives her a present. It was a helmet, you know.
Yeah, and he's like, you must wear this all the time.
Yeah. And then Dale was talking to BJ, I think it was his name was, and then he was giving BJ like some advice because BJ was like, oh, you know, he's like, yeah, just be yourself and just go, you know, ask her out and all this stuff. He's like, just be yourself, you know. He's like, okay, I will. And then that's when we see Dale is talking about, hey, you know, this might be the last time we see each other, but you know, he's trying to explain how he feels about her, but she ends up just kissing him.
Yep.
She's like, I feel that way too, and she kisses him, and then they kiss, and then they show BJ. I guess I don't know if the girl pushed him or something like that, but he knocks the girls out, like he punched her in the face.
He knocked her out and just dragging her body.
Yeah, and he was just dragging her away, and then Dale's looking, and he's like, nah, whatever.
And they continue to kiss,
Yeah.
and the movie ends.
That's the movie. So yeah, I thought this movie was hilarious. Great movie. I love what they did with it. It's not too many like good like horror comedies like this. I don't think there's any movie like this.
No.
Yeah.
So my question to you, what would you rate this movie?
I'm giving Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. Probably giving it like 3.5. 3.5. Yeah. They're really good. Enjoyed it. Pretty funny. There's, like I said, there's not many other horror movies like this, or horror comedies like this, and it's really good. I enjoy it, so I give it 3.5. What are you giving it?
Believe it or not, I'm gonna give it a 4.
Oh, okay. So
this is probably my highest rated movie.
yeah, it definitely is. Yeah. Okay, so you. Yeah.
I like. It was super funny. It had me laughing like the entire time. I'm like, oh my gosh, they really threw that in as a joke. I'm like, but it so fits.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I like how they did both perspectives. Like, that was great. So, because they kept cutting back and forth. And then I just like how the deaths looked like they committed it, but realistically, the kids did it themselves and stuff like that. So it was just good. And then it was a little twist where Chad turned out, I mean, I knew he was like evil to begin with because like just the way he was acting with Allison, I was like, okay, this is going to play a bigger part in the movie. I knew it was going to. And then it turns out he was the Hillbilly Massacre, or his dad was.
His dad was. And now he's the new one because he's the one who killed the journalist from the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I liked how they did that cut scene. They showed that, and it was like 3 days ago.
Yeah, and they went back to it towards it. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then now we know why Chad is like so gung ho. He wanted to fight all the hillbillies, like because he thought that hillbillies killed his parents,
Yep.
but he was lied to. But yeah, yeah. So that was Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Guys, let us know your thoughts. Did you like it? Did you not? What would be your rating for the movie? Yeah, definitely let us know. And if you have any comments or any suggestions, you can email us. What's our email?
Podcastwhatthereal@gmail.com.
Yes, yes. And also, guys, make sure you follow us, follow our podcast, and make sure you rate us. How many stars should they rate us?
5 stars, guys. Please give
Yes.
us 5 stars.
Definitely do that. Also, you can check us out on YouTube, What the Real Podcast on YouTube. Definitely do that. And yeah, guys. Yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, guys, let us know what should we review next. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye.
Peace out.